Hello and welcome back. Today we are taking a second look at the idea that believers value Jesus. Now, by the way, this is a statement of the way things ought to be. We ought to be the sort of people that value Jesus and actually value him above everything else. And one of the ways that we will be helped to value Jesus the way that he deserves to be valued is to meditate on Jesus, to think on Jesus, to think about who he is, what he's done for our salvation, how he protects us, how he watches over us, how we can rest in him. And the more that we meditate on Jesus and what he is like, the more we will find our hearts going out to him in love, and the more that we will find ourselves valuing him above everything else. And that's really the direction that we're heading in this video and the ways that we want to be helped to value Jesus the way that he deserves to be valued. It's not just we value him, so I want to let you know that you're the sort of person that values Jesus. Actually, I want to say we are people who struggle to value Jesus the way that we should, and yet we want to be helped by meditating on Jesus, seeking God's help to value Jesus the way that we should. And again, it begins with meditating on Jesus. That we would think of him, as the Bible says, as the pearl of great price. Owen says, the glory of his deity, the excellency of his person, his all-conquering desirableness, ineffable love, wonderful undertaking, unspeakable condescension, effectual mediation, complete righteousness, lie in their eyes, ravish their hearts, fill their affections, and possess their souls. So again, what is Owen saying? There's so much of a looking at Christ and understanding Christ in a sense with good theology, but then just a time of just sitting there and reflecting on who he is, that it begins to affect us with the beauty, with the provision he makes for us, with the way that he shows us mercy and grace, though we are sinners. And the more we look at how well he's provided for sinners like us, the more we find our hearts going out to him. And so we want to pray then for God's help, right? To esteem Christ as the greatest, to love Christ in proportion to his worth. He's the most worthy of our love, so we should love him the most, right? He's the greatest being, so he should be loved the most. And so on and on we can go. We want to reflect on the greatness of Jesus so that we will love him with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. And then may God then put within our hearts a love for Christ and a joy in our fellowship with him, so that one of our greatest dreads becomes that we are perhaps afraid that we would ever not have this close fellowship with him. One of the things that Owen says we should have is one of our worst thoughts, one of our greatest dreads about perhaps the fact that we may end up in hell one day, or that anyone could end up in hell one day. One of the greatest dreads in our hearts should be that we would not enjoy Jesus Christ, right? What would be the greatest thing you would lose if you went to hell? Well, you would not have fellowship with Jesus Christ. You would never have fellowship with Jesus Christ. And so may God grant us such a high esteem for Christ and such a joy in our fellowship with Christ that we most love and value our fellowship with him, and we most dread anything that would break our fellowship with him. And may that keep us not only from not wanting to go to hell, but not to engage in the sinful practices that break our fellowship with him. May God help us to esteem Christ, value Christ, and long to be with him forever, and value him as he deserves to be valued. May he help us to do that. By his great power, and again, by our meditation on the greatness of who he is.